Hello, everyone from Chelsea Fan TV. Welcome back to another late night 10 p.m. show where we go through all the latest Chelsea news and all of the latest Chelsea transfer news as well. Lots to go through today. Some surprising news that I wasn't expecting, and then a little bit of the same old. A couple of updates there regarding. We've got Dean Huijsen. We've got other players that Chelsea being linked with as well. And also a couple of outgoings. Who are we planning on getting rid of? Who are we willing to get rid of? And who is interested in these players? Petrovic being the key one. There is significant interest, according to one source, that Aston Villa are looking to potentially bring Petrovic to Villa Park, which honestly surprises me quite a bit. Because they have a great goalkeeper, but I'm not exactly sure about the details of what's happening with Martinez out there. Big up to everyone. Smash the like button if you haven't already. Hope you're doing well. Rain, Jordan, good to see you on the stream. Big up to Daniel. Big up to Dylan. Good to see you guys. And Droney says they'll sell Petrovic for the profit. That's certainly not something I put past their ownership. Steve, I know only a minute today, basically on time. I think the stream was scheduled. It was all right. Andre Santos to Arsenal. Where have you heard that one? 60 million is fair for Petrovic, but do you think we'd actually get that offer? I don't think we get 60 mil as an offer. No chance. Woodshed, I appreciate the kind comment. Hey, listen, we're going to be doing 10 p.m. shows every single day except match days. So this is going to become a very regular thing. Like we used to do the 8 p.m. streams. I just think the 10 p.m.'s just better, aren't they? It's just better. Big up to Yusuf as well. What is this Ticketmaster website? I hope it isn't like Vivid Seats. Don't worry, we're going to go through all of that, mate. Nito as well. Hook him up, guys. Hook him up. Get him a ticket for the game. Although I'm not going to lie, you're not asking for an easy one. That's going to be a tough game to get any tickets for. So, yeah, that's where we are at the moment, guys. Without further ado, let's get straight into it. Big up to you, Habib, as well, mate. And let's start off with Jordi Petrovic. So, where has this news come from? Who is the source? And should we trust this source? I guess that's what we should always ask. As always, I just want to highlight, I am not the one who makes this information. So when people say, oh, clickbait, fake news, I didn't create this news. I am simply saying what's already out there. Okay. And then I'll give my opinion on it as well. Do I think it's true? Do I think it's not true? Is it realistic as well? Okay, so take some of these sources with a pinch of salt because we're coming into that sort of transfer season. And you know how it is. There's always someone that's interested in someone, and sometimes it's, hot and sometimes it's not. Anyway, when we come to Petrovic, Football Insider, apparently they have an exclusive Aston Villa eye move for Chelsea star Jordi Petrovic. Aston Villa, Juventus, and Bayern Leverkusen are eyeing moves for Chelsea goalkeeper Jordi Petrovic following his impressive form on loan at Strasbourg. Sources have told Football Insider. Petrovic, 25, has been outstanding for Strasbourg since joining on loan last summer and played a key role in the side's surprise bid for European qualification in Liga. The Serbia international has kept a stunning 7 clean sheets in his last 10 games to enhance his reputation as one of the best goalkeepers in Europe's top 5 leagues. Petrovic's long-term future at Chelsea is uncertain, with the Blues well stocked in the goalkeeping department at Stamford Bridge. And then it goes on to say that Aston Villa could rival Juventus and Bayer Leverkusen for Petrovic. The 25-year-old is set to return to Chelsea at the end of the season to be included in the squad for this summer's FIFA Club World Cup. He signed a contract running until 2030 at Stamford Bridge in 2023. after leaving the MLS side New England Revolution. And it's really important as well when we look at what he's doing, Petrovic at Strasbourg. This is very similar. I don't know about his distribution sets, for example, but he was statistically the best goalkeeper in the MLS. Just like when we got Jorgensen, statistically he was the best, one of the best goalkeepers in La Liga. So Chelsea are all about the stats. We love data. We love all this stuff. But the nice thing with Petrovic, we've obviously seen Petrovic play for Chelsea last season. I think the majority of us would say he done well. He did a good job. But there is obviously that side where you think to yourself, why did we even let this guy go? Like, what's he doing in France? I hear that Strasbourg fans are going to protest. I mean, they've already been protesting. But, they are putting pressure on Blueco to essentially give them better players. And if they've got Champions League football and Chelsea didn't, as an example, would that be enough to retain players like Petrovic and Andre Santos? I think the answer is no, but anything can happen, right? Anything can happen. This is that's the way it is, isn't it? So, listen, I don't know enough about Football Insider to really say that it's a good source or a bad source. I have actually done an interview with Football Insider before. What's his name? Something Robinson, who was England's goalkeeper. Robinson. Fucking hell, what's his name? England goalkeeper. What's his name? Paul Robinson. For those of you who don't know Paul Robinson, he was a goalkeeper internationally for England. He does work with Football Insider. I know that because when I did the interview with them, Paul Robinson was one of the other people on there. So it's me, Paul Robinson, and another guy. So look, I think they're quite a serious organization, or they're trying to get to that stage, but don't really know if there's anything to look at this and go, oh, it's a great source. It's not Fabrizio, it's not David Ornstein, it's not Matt Law, or whoever it is, whether you agree with what they say or don't agree. And I'm not saying I agree, I'm not saying I don't agree. Don't really know, to be honest with you. I think a lot of it is conspiracy, but there is definitely truth in the whole brown envelope argument. I'm certain of that. So yeah, that's Petrovic. And when we look at the player and you see what Petrovic is doing in France and what he's done, and you compare that with what we have at the moment with Robert Sanchez, who should be the loanee? I think that we can all categorically agree that our ownership, our hierarchy, our directors, our management, whoever it is that needs to take the blame, somebody's got to take the blame. They fucked up. Because the more we delve into these stats, and as I said, stats isn't everything, but it's something. And you can judge a decent amount off of stats. Obviously, the old eye test always helps as well. Nothing wrong with actually watching players and seeing how they perform on the pitch in real time over multiple matches. Nothing wrong with that. The SOFA score ratings are clearly higher for Jordi Petrovic. They played the same amount of matches, Robert Sanchez and Petrovic. They've conceded the same amount of goals, 31 each. The saves per game, Petrovic a little bit higher than Sanchez. That would be expected, though, especially because Strasbourg, you would argue, probably come up against more shots than Chelsea, but I'm not sure. Let me know if I'm right or wrong. 10 clean sheets to Sanchez's 7. 8 goals prevented. 8.13 goals prevented to Sanchez's 1.79. I'm not really sure how that stat is formulated. But the key stats are the ones at the bottom. Errors leading to goal and penalties committed. Not conceded, committed. Okay. Now, this is where you look at the history of this season and you backtrack and you think to yourself, Right, Petrovic has not made a single error leading to a goal. He's not committed any penalties, not given away a penalty, none of that. So 0 mistakes leading to goals. Okay. Sanchez has been responsible for 7. Think to yourself, if we would have had, let's just put Petrovic, imagine he was our goalkeeper, and we look at Man City away. Remember that goal Haaland scored, that chip over Sanchez? I think that's a good reason why we probably end up losing that game. Sanchez mistake. United away, conceding the penalty. Sanchez gave away the penalty. Arsenal at home, near post shot from Martinelli. Robert Sanchez should have saved that shot. I would argue that was a mistake. Brighton, 2 mistakes leading to goals. We ended up winning that game. That could have really cost us. Wolves fumbled a set piece. We ended up conceding. There are countless opportunities for teams to get at Chelsea because of our goalkeeper. And there is no doubt in my mind, and there should be no doubt in any of your minds, that we have a goalkeeper that's not good enough. And Petrovic is clearly good enough. So when we hear about Aston Villa, Bayern Leverkusen, and Juventus being interested in this player, you know, we should take it as a compliment in terms of the player that we brought in and recruited. Use that compliment as confidence to know that we have the right man to perform at the elite level that Chelsea need to be at in order to qualify for Champions League and push on for trophies, if that is the what is wanted, if that's the standard. And just play Petrovic, man. Don't even think about getting Sanchez involved. Again, looking at some more stats from Petrovic, part-time playmaker, goalkeepers with the most accurate passes per game in Europe's top 5 leagues. 36.1 passes per game for Petrovic, ahead of Neuer, Flecken, Magnan, and Moritz Nicolas as well. Look, there are multiple metrics you can use to describe this goalkeeper that would point you in the direction that he is one of the best, if not the best, in some departments. I think Petrovic is world-class in terms of potential. And I think that when the word world-class is thrown around, there's no doubt that Cole Palmer was world-class last season. And that gives you the ability to say, right, this kid can be world-class. Creatively, I think he's probably still been world-class this year, actually. Not quite as good, though. He's been marked out of games. But those are the type of players, I'm just using Palmer as an example. When you see that ability so early on, you can say to yourself, this guy's got some serious minerals. He can do something for us. I feel that way about Petrovic. I think Petrovic honestly has so much to offer this team. And I think he could be a great player for us. So I am going to be under the assumption that Chelsea are not trying to sell Petrovic. This is just interest. This is not concrete. This is not confirmed. This is interest. And I think we have to take it as a compliment that our goalkeeper is attracting that level of interest. And we need to play him at Chelsea Football Club. There's no doubt in my mind. There is obviously interest as well from the club he's already at with Strasbourg. You look at what Liam Rosnier had to say about Jordi Petrovic. This is what he said. He said, the more I see him here, the more he smiles and the happier he is. It's to his credit. He has a beautiful young family who have settled in the area, and he's going to have a remarkable career. I love working with him, and hopefully somehow we can still collaborate in the future, whether it's here or elsewhere in 5 years. I'd like it to be next season. So when Liam Rosnier's making that comment, it's quite funny, actually. It's almost, he's not saying that, you know, he's going to be Chelsea's manager, but you almost think when he says, oh, you want to work with Petrovic in the future, are you implying that if Maresca gets a sack, you're next in line? Is that what's going on? Maybe that's just me making up a conspiracy theory here. I'm not saying I believe it, but interesting quote from the Strasbourg manager. By the way, I'm a huge fan of Liam Rosner. I think he handles himself very well, and I think he's done exceptionally well with a young Strasbourg squad, and he's gotten the best out of a lot of these players. I know it's Obviously easier in France than it is in England, but respect to him. I think he's doing well. Big up to you, Jay. I hope you're doing well, mate. Big up to Amir. I wouldn't be surprised if we let Wesley Fofana go. I mean, after all, he has always been injured. And since coming to Chelsea, he would count as a flop, to be totally honest with you. Well, I can confirm, based on what we've read and the information that's come out via sources, as far as I'm aware, Maresca's still planning on building this team with Fofana, and Fofana being a huge integral part of that, which to me is just ridiculous. Don't see why you do it. It's just pathetic. The truth is, though, when you look at all the other centre-backs that we have, we are not looking great. I'm not seeing progression from Levi Colwill, a player who's spoken about how much he feels like he is progressing under Maresca. I'm like, what? I'm not seeing it. Badir Shil, not good enough. Sassy, not good enough in this system. Tosin, not good enough to be a starter. He's a rotation option. I am a fan of Tosin. I think it was good business bringing him in. But if you're asking me, is he going to get Chelsea to the elite level? The answer is no. Chalobah's going to be sold. That's pure profit. And then obviously we've got, what's his name? Sarr? Is that his name? Sarr? Coming from Strasbourg. We've got the centre-back coming in next season. So we are going to need to reinforce those positions. We're going to move on to those centre-back positions in a second. But yeah, no, Wesley Fofana's not going anywhere. He's going to be staying at Chelsea next season for sure, as far as I'm aware. Evening, Tom. Is Caicedo banned or not for this weekend? As I know, the cards get wiped off at the 32nd game, and Ipswich was our 33rd game. Any knowledge? From what I'm aware, Caicedo will not be banned by that logic, and I think you're right. I did see something about that. Again, correct me if I'm wrong, guys, but I think Caicedo will be available, which is obviously a huge plus for Chelsea. And obviously, we've got Lavia potentially as well, who could be in the squad. I say if you can give the man 45 minutes, then just start him straight away. We've got such a little amount of games left to play. For us to throw away points just because Lavia's, they're not 100% sure if he can play X amount of minutes. The guy is getting injured anyway. Play Lavia. If he is so key to what we're trying to do, play Lavia. And then play Caicedo as an inverted right back, because James hasn't been good enough. Gusto's injured, and Maresca clearly doesn't love Josh Achimpong. He said he loves him, but if he really loved him, he'd play him. So I'm not seeing the love. And Valentine's Day's gone by, so I'm not seeing Maresca changing his tune anytime soon for Josh Achimpong. Maybe in Stockholm we see it. We're not seeing it in the Premier League. We're not seeing enough of it. I want to see Achimpong start for Chelsea. What do I think of Sancho staying? Listen, I think it's a fair investment. I'm not going to sit here and say it's a bad deal. I mean, it is a bad deal if you're looking for him to be a starter at Chelsea. So I guess then you're leaning on the idea that we'll get someone else in that's better. I mean, who else would you sign for 25 million that's better than Sancho? More proven than Sancho? There's not many options out there. When you look at Gittins from Dortmund and who was the other one? Alejandro Garnacho. Both more expensive, both less experienced, both worse players, to be honest with you. I mean, Gittins is only 20, but you're basically getting it very similar. In terms of GA, it's not too different. I'm not seeing much of a difference there. Anyway, guys, we're going to move on. Okay, we've got a little bit more news to get through regarding Dean Huijsen. By the way, please tell me if I'm saying his name wrong. Every time I'm reading the guy's name, I'm thinking, am I saying something wrong here? Matt Law's come out on the London Blue Pod. For those of you who don't know, that's an American podcast. They talk about Chelsea. They've been going for quite a long time. Matt Law's a regular on there. He says Chelsea are definitely leading the race for Dean Huijsen. I think there is a very good chance of that happening. So, I mean, that would give you an awful lot of confidence looking at it and saying, okay, well, we've got a very, very informed defender who's got a lot of the qualities that we want in a centre back. He's young. He's he's got good distribution, defensive qualities. A lot to like. 50 million. It's not a great price. It's not a terrible price. A little bit more than I'd like to spend, if I'm honest. I'd probably look more around the 40 million mark, and I think that's a fair deal for both sides. But as far as I'm aware, that is the clause that he can be sold for, is 50 million. There's interest from Liverpool. There's interest from Real Madrid as well. So if you look at Matt Law and what he says, that would tell you that we're front of the race. Happy days. Listen, Chelsea, once they want a player, generally they get him, don't they? I mean, they don't miss out on players that they really, really want, especially if it's attainable in terms of the wage structure. And I'm not seeing any problems with that. You're going to get a significant pay rise going from Bournemouth to Chelsea, 100%. Now, the other side, the flip side of this, is when you look at David Ornstein. And he is a little bit more conservative on this regarding Chelsea than Matt Law. He says, I'm not aware of a front runner between them, Chelsea and Liverpool to date. Real Madrid have always carried a huge appeal to Huijsen, we hear, but so far they haven't moved on the situation, and I'm sure he is philosophical about that. So actually, when you look at that, you've got conflicting reports. You've got one journalist saying Chelsea are in front. You've got another journalist saying, don't really think anyone's in front, not hearing too much to sway in any sort of direction. And that is a dilemma. So who's right? Fucking hell. We must have different sources, because one of them's confident and one of them isn't. Me personally, I think that Chelsea have a realistic chance of signing this player. If you put us up against, let's just say, Real Madrid, Liverpool, and Chelsea, I think Real Madrid are going for him, number one. I don't think he starts for them, number two. And I think that that's probably not the right step in his career if he's looking for regular game time. Obviously, they have a lot more pull. They're the biggest club in the world. But I just don't see Real Madrid going for the player, so they're out of the equation. Then you look at Liverpool and you compare them to Chelsea. What do Liverpool have that Chelsea don't have? They have Champions League football, number one. Number two, they've obviously come off of winning the Premier League. We know they're going to win that. So you're immediately walking into a successful side, a winning team, playing at the highest level in Europe. You go to Chelsea, though, you have guaranteed game time, which you can't necessarily say at Liverpool when you got Van Dijk, who's just signed a new contract, and Konate as well. I don't see him starting ahead of those two players. I don't see it. So then you're saying, okay, he's signing to be a rotation option for Liverpool for what, 2 years? Is that what he wants? Then you know you can walk in the door at Chelsea and play alongside Wesley Fofana straight away, and you're comfortably going to be in that starting 11. If it's not Fofana, it will be Colwell. Those are the options. So this is a player who knows he's going to have game time at Chelsea. No doubt in my mind about that. And that is why I think that we probably can actually win the race for him. We're willing to spend the money. Liverpool aren't a team that offer ridiculous wages either, guys. Let's just be very clear. They only offer high wages to their best performers. If you are a performer at Liverpool, you get paid a good wage. I mean, they take their time negotiating it. Fucking hell. They always cut it down to the wire, like they have with Salah, like they have with Van Dijk. I think they probably would have done something similar with Alexander-Arnold, but obviously he's chosen to go to Madrid. That's a separate argument. I don't think they do that with brand new players that come in. They pay players, relatively well. They're a big club, but I don't think financially we're going to be having an awful lot of competition there. So that's my stance on Dean Hodgson. Let's go through some of the comments. And oh yes, is that okay? Huijsen. Thank you. That is what I needed. Huijsen. So I have been saying that name wrong for quite some time. There you go. I will change that. Please correct me again. Mudryk was a tough one for me last season. I kept saying Mudryk, but eventually it clicked in my head. It does eventually click. No, the keeper is a huge problem, but I don't think that Petrovic will go to Aston Villa or Juventus or Leverkusen like it's been reported. I don't see that happening. I don't see them offering enough money to satisfy us either. I think that if we are looking to sell Petrovic, I'm just looking at potential. I think you're looking at a £70 million goalkeeper there with another good season at Chelsea easily. Top keeper. Great distribution stats. He's a shot stopper. He's reliable, doesn't make mistakes, and he's young. You have a great keeper there. Tip-top recruitment. Like, we can criticize all the recruitment we want. What a fucking signing. Brilliant. Brilliant. How do I pronounce it? Let me get it right. Huijsen is so good, really good profile, but my gosh, when is this nonsense going to stop? What do you mean in terms of the rumors? The problem is we need an experienced centre-back to help these younger players out. Absolutely. That will bring me on to my next point. I don't think Chelsea should just be signing one centre-back here. Stuart, big up Alex. Why didn't you call Egbali out? Was very disappointed in you. Massive missed opportunity. Interesting you bring that up, Stuart. To be honest with you, mate, I've had a conversation with a lot of people about Egbali and that whole incident. And God honest truth, I speak to people, obviously the online community, people in the chat. I'd say online, it's very mixed. Some people think that it was a disgrace, should have ran up to the guy and cornered him and shouted at him and told him everything, which is pretty extreme. Another side of the fan base being like, you could have at least walked up to him and asked him a few questions. And then, there are a lot of people saying, listen, you spoke to the guy. He chose not to respond. He had an ample opportunity to come over if he wanted to. And I was the first one to say his name. It wasn't like everyone was shouting. I did say something. But ultimately, you've got to look at it from the perspective as well. You've got some fans out here that are doing things against the owners, and they just get banned. And I don't think I can help anyone if that's the situation. Like, everyone wants me to throw punches at the owners and tell them to fuck off on camera. I don't think that achieves anything. I think that the message was very clear. We tried to speak to Egbali. We were nice about it. We weren't aggressive. And he ignored us. And I think that message had carried a lot of weight. More weight than you would realize. So I'm not saying, obviously you're not telling me what I should or shouldn't have done. I appreciate you're disappointed. A lot of people are disappointed. But you've got to appreciate that I go and watch this team every week. I don't think confronting your owner, I don't think that really has a long-term benefit in achieving what we want as a fan base. What will happen is very simple. Someone will get banned, won't be allowed in the stadium again. You won't see any more fan cams, and you won't have any more of those interactions because I'm the only one who does it. So as much as I appreciate your point, also you've got to look at it, and sometimes being emotional about these things, it's not the right play. It's just not. I mean, I despise the way they've run the club. There's no doubt about it, but I don't think that would end well. I don't think that would end well. And people can call me whatever they want, but I'm not saying you, Stuart, in particular, but I'm saying a lot of people have said some pretty nasty things to me regarding the way I dealt with that. You fucking do it. If if you're not happy with the way this channel is being run and the message that I'm putting out, which, by the way, that message carried more fucking weight than everyone else, because we actually saw it in the flesh and captured it. But people still want to. It's never good enough, is it? It's never fucking good enough. So if people aren't happy with it, if you think I'm doing a bad job, then try it yourself. Honestly, that's the way I feel about it. Alex, anything less than Osman's quality for centre striker is another fraud of the owners by their briefings towards us fans. But let me ask you this. If we do bring in Osman, totally realistic in terms of what we can do. I mean, we're definitely able to do it. But we didn't bring in other players because we'd have spent all of our money on a striker. Would that upset you? Because, again, we're talking about Dean Huijsen. We're talking about, well, there's other players on the list as well. Multiple centre-backs, a couple of wingers. I think Yildiz from Juventus. All of these players, whatever. Do you just want the one? I'm not saying what I want. I'm just asking you. Do you just want Osimhen and then you're happy? Do you prioritize that over getting multiple centre-backs? Other aspects of this team that can be improved? Me personally, I don't have a massive issue with Delap. I really don't. I'm not saying I prefer it over Osimhen. People put words in my mouth when they say that. So, like, stop hyping up Delap for our club brew army. This is a player that's attracting interest from Man United, Newcastle, and Chelsea. There is a clear reason that clubs are interested in him. He's not a bad player. He's not. He's not as good as Osimhen. But don't kid me and say he's not a good player. He's clearly capable of performing in the Premier League to a certain level, which is in and around quite similar to Nicholas Jackson. Let's just say 15 goals a season. All right, let's say that. With assists, maybe 20 GA, whatever it is. You look at what Nicholas Jackson has done in this team, what he's missing, what Chelsea are missing. We're missing a physical striker, a box presence, someone who can get, poach, someone who just shoots, doesn't take a million touches. Delap offers you an alternative. So again, I am not here encouraging the ownership or pushing the agenda to bring in Delap over Osimhen. My number one target is Osimhen. My number two target, probably Delap. My number two. Gorkarez isn't even in the equation. He doesn't want to come to Chelsea. He wants to go to Arsenal. He wants to go to Liverpool. He wants Champions League football. Osimhen, he wants the money. He don't give a fuck. He does not give a fuck. That's why he's been linked with Saudi. No other Premier League club is looking to cough up that kind of money based on reports. We'll see what happens. But listen, if we have serious ambition, then we'll cough up the money, won't we? We'll see what happens. Lucrative sign-in bonus, maybe. I don't really know enough about it to comment, to be honest with you, mate. Don't really know enough about it. Should Maresca be sacked if we don't get Champions League for next season? In my opinion, it's sackable, yes. He needs to achieve two things. He needs to get Champions League football. He also needs to win the Conference League. If he does those two things, I will not be calling for the sacking of Maresca. I will not. I'm not sitting here saying I love him. But when we look at last season, the bare minimum was European football. Pochettino achieved that. I thought fair enough. Still got sacked. So if Maresca doesn't get sacked and still doesn't achieve the bare minimum, which we know is Champions League, that's the natural progression, then that's just a clear problem, isn't it? Because we don't have standards. For one person, you've got to achieve this. For another person, you've got to achieve less, but you still get given more faith and more trust. I don't get it. I don't understand it. That's where the yes man argument comes in, isn't it? But we'll see. We will see. Better to get Danny Welbeck instead of Liam Delap. Fair enough. Okay. Let's so we've spoken about Dean Huijsen. Huijsen? Yeah, Huijsen, I've got it in the bag. And we move on to another player that honestly I would have never guessed he would have been linked with Chelsea. And I don't really know how I feel about him being linked with Chelsea in the first place. I'll give you one thing. He's older than 21. He's older than 25. He's almost 30 years old. Can you believe it? Chelsea being linked with a player that's almost 30 years old. Are you kidding me? Where the hell has that come from? So let's break it down. Chelsea interested in a deal for Napoli and former Fulham midfielder Frank Anguissa of Napoli. Now, this is according to Italian reports that claim Chelsea are exploring the possibility of a deal for the Napoli midfielder and former Fulham star Andre Frank Zambo Anguissa at the end of the 2024-25 season. Anguissa's contract is due to expire at the end of the 24-25 campaign, but there is an option on both sides to extend the agreement for a further 2 years until the summer of 2027, which Napoli are expected to exercise in order to avoid losing the Cameroon international for free. However, despite the fact that Napoli are expected to extend Anguissa's contract, the 29-year-old is growing increasingly likely to leave the Stadio Maradona at the end of the 24-25 season. I just want to be very clear. I have no idea why that's the case. I'm pretty surprised that this is even a deal that we're being linked with. And again, these sources could be complete rubbish. All I can say is what I'm seeing. All right. But there are sources that are saying this in Italy. So maybe there's a reason that, the player wants to leave Napoli or is looking to leave Napoli and he just wants a new challenge. Maybe he wants to prove himself at a different club in the Premier League after, I think, Fulham got relegated with him, didn't they? According to reports from La Gazzetta dello Sport, Chelsea have already made steps towards a deal for Anguissa, who spent 4 years on the books of their neighbours and rivals Fulham between 2018 and 2022. Thursday's report suggests there is also interest in Anguissa in Ligue 1, especially from Monaco. Either way, Anguissa is not expected to make a formal decision over his club for the next season until the end of the current campaign. As things stand, he and his teammates are in the midst of a battle for the Serie A title as Napoli sit level on points with Inter at the top of the standings with 5 games to go. Now, absolutely no idea why this player is being linked with us. Because it's not really something that we need in this team. I'm not actually seeing a player that... It's not something that's in demand. I mean, we've got Asugu coming in from Sporting. He's going to be back up to Caicedo. So that's your sort of defensive midfield covered. You've got Andre Santos giving you cover for Enzo Fernandez. You've obviously got Lavia in there as well, although he's injured the majority of the time. And where do you see Anguissa playing? He's not a 10. Certainly not going to play at a Cole Palmer. I just don't see any game time. So the only reason I think Chelsea are interested in this player is because his contract is due to expire. But as soon as that deal gets extended by a further 2 years, Chelsea are not interested whatsoever. And that's the only reason that we're interested in a 29-year-old player, not because we think he's got the potential to be a fantastic signing for Chelsea. He's going to be revolutionary. This is the experience that we always needed. Bring it on. Jesus Christ. Come on, people. What are we eating? Fulham scraps? Is that what we're doing? Sloppy seconds? No, thank you. On a free? Maybe. But I'm not paying a penny for him. And I mean, I know we criticize the recruitment structure and the owners for not signing experienced players, but is this the priority? Again, like, if this is where you would spend your money, Just spend that extra cash on Osimhen, and then you can justify it. But if you're looking to sign the player on a free, it's an opportunistic signing. That's what we love. We love an opportunistic signing, don't we? We absolutely love it. Alex, mate, why isn't there more female representation on this channel besides Nina? I mean, it's a great question, Stephen. I know you want Sophie back, but she's not involved in the channel anymore. Honestly, I would be more than happy for Sophie to get involved. I haven't got a problem with it. She's not getting involved. She's not interested. As for Nina, I mean, again, big up to Nina, I guess. Representing all the ladies on Chelsea Fan TV. We do love a good free, don't we? I would say Anguissa is a better signing than Tosin, though, if you got him on a free. I mean, that's a half-decent player. And he's performed and played regular minutes for Napoli. He's been an essential part of their squad this season. Andres, bit unrelated, but I saw a comment by someone on YouTube and it had me thinking, I've already seen this comment, man. You've already put this comment in. I don't know. I don't know. Again, like I'm not really sure about sign-in bonuses. I don't really know enough about it. I mean, if you can give me a source, maybe we can look at it at some point, but I haven't got it. Stephen, we're not going to those levels. All right. There is a certain standard that needs to be abided on this channel. That is not the standard we are looking for at the moment. But appreciate your enthusiastic suggestion. Yeah, but as I said, what's his name? Anguissa is not going to play ahead of Cole Palmer. And Cole Palmer's position is absolutely cemented. Absolutely cemented. I don't buy that whatsoever. He is cemented. Like, even though he's been poor under Maresca in a lot of ways, it's the manager's fault. He's putting him in a position to constantly be man marked and double mark, whatever you want to call it. If we played him on the right, he would find more space. He'd be able to get in the wing, cut inside, provide assists, do exactly what he did last season, get on the under some more goals as well. Who knows? Will we see when we have any call-in shows? I have some words to say to the players who turn their comments off. Let's have a look. Good one, Jay. Let's have a look. You know, Jay, maybe we'll have a call-in show this Sunday or this Saturday. Most likely this Sunday. Maybe. Good suggestion. Okay. So, yeah, Anguissa for me is a no, especially if you have to pay for him. If he's on a free, it's like, extra squad depth. It's not a bad option to have, is he? He improves the team ultimately. And he's experienced. He is an experienced player. So there is some stuff that you can appreciate there, but I think generally we all feel the same way about it, which is that don't really need to get that deal done. So there you go. David Ornstein's also spoken about Mark Gurhey, a player who I also want Chelsea to sign. Desperate for Chelsea to sign this player. This should be our number one priority in the centre-back position. He is experienced in Premier League. He's played for Crystal Palace for a number of years. He went on loan to Swansea at some point as well. He's played for England. He was one of our best players in the Euros. Mark Gurhey is a player that Chelsea also have, I think, a 20% sell-on clause for, or is it 15%? Something like that, 15 to 20% sell-on clause. I have no idea if we can use that sell-on clause to negotiate a lower transfer fee if we were to buy him ourselves. this is a player that I think will bring an awful lot to the team. Stability, experience, knows Chelsea, knows what it actually means to play for the club, and has performed to a top level for a number of years at a mid-table side. This is an absolute must signing from me. This is the number one, Mark Guéhi. Number two is Dean Huijsen. That's the second signing that I would bring in. And those two would complement each other. And that would be a good blend of having that a bit of experience, but also quality from both sides as well. Very, very capable of playing for this team, and absolutely a great signing if we can get him. But we'll have to wait and see what happens with Mark Guéhi. I personally haven't heard as much as I wanted to hear about the player. I would have liked to have, heard more positive steps that Chelsea had taken. In the direction of signing Mark Guéhi, but it just doesn't look like it's happening. A little update as well, which came out not too long ago. Willy Caballero will oversee Chelsea's Premier League match against Everton this Saturday due to the suspension of Enzo Maresca, has accumulated 3 yellow cards and will have to watch the match from the stands. So you will not have to watch Enzo Maresca on the touchline because there is another man. Doesn't look too dissimilar to Maresca. They're both got beards, both bald. But he is a different man, different nationality as well. Caballero is Spanish. I think he's Spanish. Maresca's Italian. Smash the like button as well. Thank you very much, Andres. Big up to you, my friend. Listen, we almost got 100 people in there. Let's get up to 100 likes. 100 likes on the live. It all helps. Doesn't cost a penny. And, just shows us that you're enjoying what we do. It shows me that you're enjoying what we're doing. I'm certainly enjoying it. I'm going to keep doing it even if you don't smash the like button. But, I would appreciate if you did it. So there you go. Thanks so much. We got 13 minutes left in the show, people. Argentina. Fucking hell. Got it wrong. Can you believe that? Big L. Big L from Alex there. Chris Wang says, to be honest, my favourite centre-back in the young generation is Van der Ven. Sadly, he plays for Spurs. Yeah, I don't think we're going to be getting him, mate. Would I take Dean Huijsen and Guéhi and get rid of Chalobah and toss in? I would take Dean Huijsen and Guéhi, and Chalobah is going, so it doesn't really matter what I think, but he is going. I would keep tossing. I would keep tossing, and I would take Guéhi and Huijsen. I would get rid of Disasi, and I would just have that extra depth, bearing in mind that Fofana will most likely get injured. And if we're playing the Europa League next season, we'll have extra matches on top of that, because the Conference League, if I'm not wrong, you just had the 6 matches to start off, but in the Europa League, you have the 8 group phase matches, similar to the Champions League. So we need all the depth that we can get in all positions. People say, oh, you're stockpiling, you got too many players. Players get injured, and then other players get injured, and then there's always the things that happen. There's always things that would happen. So you got to be ready for everything. By the way, I'm not saying that Tosin needs to be starting for Chelsea. I just say I'd keep him. I think he's a good player to have in the dressing room. I think that's probably the best thing that Tosin can bring to this team, a little bit of experience. And I know we joke about him being called Unk, but he is literally one of the leaders in that dressing room. So I just don't see the benefit in getting rid of him. Pure profit, fair enough. All right, cool. How much are we getting for him? You give me 20 million, I'll probably sell Tosin. There you go. I'll sell Tosin for 20 million, maybe 25. And you give me a better. So use that money to get Mark Guéhi. How about that? Use that money for Osman. Whatever you want. I would keep Renato Vega as well. I think he's been a good player for Juventus. He was revolutionary as a centre-back. At least that's what they were saying. So, no, I think he's a player that can offer something to Chelsea, but I don't think he should be playing as a left-back. I do find that a little bit strange that, yeah, the left-back is what's been sort of floated around. Also, Estevao, the new Chelsea signing. It's not today, but it was yesterday. Turned 18 years old, which is cool. So we actually signed him a year ago. We signed him when he was 16, 17 years old. Fucking hell. I mean, and now, you know, he's going to be coming into the limelight at Chelsea next season, potentially with a much bigger part to play in the squad than even we realised. Do I think that, you know, he should be starting regularly? Not necessarily, but if you look at the form of some of our wingers and how inconsistent we've been, wouldn't surprise me at all if Estevao actually has a decent amount of game time. Not saying starting every week, but, you know, coming on and making an impact in certain games. He had a few things to say. This is one of the things he had to say. He said, a lot of people are asking me why we chose Chelsea, but they don't understand how much Chelsea wanted me and how much belief they have in my potential. Those people don't know about the project they presented to us, to a young player. These things matter a lot, and I know we've made the right decision to go to London. He still feels very confident in his decision. Like, fair play to him. You've got to have conviction with these things. The deal's done. You made your bed. Now go and lie in it. And that's a good thing. That's a good trait for anyone to have. He seems confident. He seems like he knows what he wants. Now, obviously, we don't know what Chelsea told him, but we can only speak about what we've seen from Chelsea over the past couple of years under this new regime. And I think we can all agree that we have been slightly underwhelmed. That's probably an understatement. We have been underwhelmed. But look, this is the way it is, isn't it? So, you know, looking at Estevao, skilled player, can he cut in the Premier League? I haven't got a clue. So, I mean, there's not really an awful lot more to say about that. I mean, obviously, happy birthday. He is with the big boys now. You're absolutely right. But, yeah. For me, very difficult to judge the player. Don't overhype him either, because I don't really think that I'm not expecting him to work miracles in his first season. But, you know, if he's able to get even 10 GA in his first season, I'm just talking Premier League, I think that's a good start in the Premier League for an 18-year-old, and then look to build up upon that. That's with limited minutes as well. I'm not expecting, you know, the world from him, but he will be exciting to watch. I agree with you, Andrew. I do agree with you. I don't know what number Estevao will be wearing next season. I'm not sure. And when the Sterling report, like, there's no report that Leeds are actually interested. That's just what someone said Leeds should do. Someone said that Leeds should look at a player like Raheem Sterling, but fucking hell, you think they're paying 325 grand a week? No way. No chance. So we'll see. 100 in the chat and only 50 likes. Come on, people. Let's double it. Let's double it. Smash that like button, guys, if you haven't already. Let's get up to 70 likes. Let's be realistic here. There's 20 generous people willing to hit the thumbs up. Go for it. So, yes. And then moving on to the last part of this video, I should have spoken about this a little bit earlier on, is something that's honestly quite annoying. Now, this won't affect a lot of you because a lot of you don't go to games, but for those people who go to matches, this is really, it's not a great thing. It's bad news. Chelsea have struck a multi-year deal with Ticketmaster and a move towards digital ticketing from the 25-26 season. And yeah, this is what Chelsea says as well. Look, this is not a good thing. I agree with you, Chelsea. This is not good. Obviously, I don't know if I've got my wallet here. I do. Oh. Does that mean we will no longer have season tickets at Chelsea Football Club? I'm not getting my... what's going on? This is a season ticket. You can collect these. My dad has a collection from when he used to go to the games regularly. I have a collection. I've been a season ticket holder since 2017 or 2018. Been going for a number of years regularly. What? And now you're telling me I have to use a QR code to get into stadiums? That is rubbish. And by the way, Andrew, if this is the case and they're charging you extra fees to buy a ticket, as much as, you know, that will annoy a number of people, I would absolutely buy a paper ticket because I think it's better. It's not a paper ticket, it's a plastic ticket. The problem is, though, and I've spoken to one or two people that are in, you know, they have season tickets. They're a little bit older. One of the regular themes at Chelsea for match-going fans, you've got a lot of people like myself. I'm in my 20s. You've got people in their 30s, and they're using their dad's season ticket or their granddad's season ticket or their uncle's tickets because maybe they live somewhere further away, or they're a little bit older. They don't want to go to all the games anymore. They want to give it to their families. And one of the problems with the online ticketing system, at least this is what I've heard from some of these people that Chelsea might be doing, is they're going to ask, you know, they're going to start IDing people with tickets. So if you have a season ticket, let's just imagine you have two. Let's just say you and your dad, you have a season ticket, all right? And he doesn't live near London, as an example. You will not necessarily be able to use your dad's season ticket because he won't be there to use it. Now, what usually happens is someone will just give you the season ticket and they'll go, yeah, all right, go for it. You can use it, no problem. And you scan it and you go in, no problem. But having this digital approach can cause some real headaches for people that go to games using other people's tickets. I can think of a couple of people that consistently do that. Charlie consistently does that. Matt, you know, goes to games, use other people's tickets. And it's not a bad thing to do. It's just that they're so difficult to get access to tickets that you're forced into basically borrowing them. So, oh, hi, mate, can I use, have you got any spares for this game? Like the amount of games where you get a message from someone and they go, oh, hi, mate, have you got a spare for this game? You think to yourself, like, fucking hell, man. No, like, I don't have a spare. And, you know, they'll be sending that message to probably 15, 20 people, seeing if eventually, you know, they can get a hold of a ticket. A lot of people say go through the club. You will not get very far. You won't get very far. You will get some, but you won't consistently be able to watch the game. You need to know people to get tickets. That is the reality. You need to know people. I do agree with some of the stuff that you know is done. For example, for the European games, let's just say the people that are going to Stockholm, what you'll have to do is you will have to physically go and collect your ticket in Stockholm with an ID for them to know that it's you that's getting the ticket, not someone else, because that's when touting and things like that, you know, that can become a problem. There's no doubt about that. But I think from my perspective, looking at, you know, the way ticketing is going, it's getting so expensive. If you can't get favors from people anymore just because ID is required in order for you to enter a stadium, I just think that football's going in the wrong direction. And that's my thought on it. I'm all for modernizing things. I actually think virtual tickets are very helpful, especially for away games when you have to meet someone. I personally prefer it because I can just send tickets to people virtually. I don't have to meet them in person. I don't have to organize it. If they're running late, that makes me late for the games. That's happened a number of times. So there are obviously positives to it, but all in all, I think that there are a number of people who could be affected in a very negative way based on these new rules. That's the only way I get to go. It's a nightmare trying to get hold of one legitimately. I totally agree with you, man. Like it's fucking impossible. So I don't know if the CST thought they did something smart when they were asking the club to combat touting, but I actually think they've made it harder. If look, this is all presuming that is the direction, then I think that's a real shame, and I think that's honestly not going to help a lot of people. So yeah, will the loyalty points be still, and will the virtual waiting? What? Will we get loyalty points still, and will that replace the virtual waiting room? I don't think that will change. I think that'll probably stay the same, to be honest with you. I think that will stay the same. Was going to try and get a season ticket next season. Now there is not a chance. How's that? Why is that? Yeah, no, it's pretty normal to have to use ID for picking up tickets for these away games. Listen, guys, we managed to get through everything. We got through all the latest transfer news regarding Dean Huijsen. Obviously, Chelsea are apparently the front runners, according to Matt Law, for him. But then when you hear from David Ornstein, he's not totally sure. Chelsea have also struck a multi-year deal with Ticketmaster in a move towards digital ticketing from the 25-26 season. We're having shock interest in Frank Anguissa, the Napoli midfielder, who's 29. Although he could be extending his contract, that interest could very soon deteriorate. As well as interest from Aston Villa, Bayern Leverkusen, and Juventus for Petrovic. And obviously Chelsea still in contention for, what's his name? Mark Gay, although no new updates on that player. Listen, guys, appreciate your time. Thanks so much for jumping on this evening show. We will be back at 1 p.m. tomorrow with another show. So join us for that one, as well as another show at 10 o'clock tomorrow evening. Enjoy the rest of your evening, guys, and we will catch up very, very